We live in a world obsessed with money, possessions, and status. Advertisements constantly whisper, "You are what you own." Social media shouts, "Compare, compete, acquire." It's easy to measure wealth in numbers, houses, cars, and bank accounts. But in God's economy, this world's definition of wealth is shallow and fleeting. True richness is measured differently, by things money can't buy. If you're exhausted chasing after what the world calls success, it's time to pause and consider. What truly makes you rich in God's eyes? True wealth begins in the heart. In Matthew chapter 6, verses 19 to 21, Jesus says, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moths and vermin destroy, and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." Notice the focus: heart over hands, treasures over tangible things. True wealth isn't a bigger paycheck or a larger wardrobe. It is a heart aligned with God, a spirit rooted in generosity, and a life marked by faith. A heart oriented toward God finds satisfaction in what cannot be stolen, peace that calms anxiety, joy that persists in difficulty, hope that rises above despair, love that extends to others without expectation. This is the currency of the divine economy. Wealth in God's economy is, well, relational. Money can buy many things, but it cannot buy connection, community, or intimacy. God measures richness by the depth of your relationships. Are you loving and being loved authentically? Do you invest in family, friendships, and your faith community? Do you forgive and reconcile, even when it costs pride or comfort? A life rich in relationships cultivates resilience, support, and joy, things no amount of money can guarantee. In the divine economy, people are treasures, and investing in them yields eternal dividends. Generosity multiplies what you have. One of the most countercultural lessons in Scripture is that giving increases wealth. Luke chapter 6, verse 38 says, "Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap." You know, this is not just about financial giving. True wealth is really the overflowing generosity of time, attention, compassion, and service. When we release what we have, God multiplies it, sometimes materially, but, well, often spiritually, in ways we just can't measure. Generosity reshapes our hearts from scarcity to abundance and aligns us with the divine economy. Character is, honestly, the ultimate currency. In God's economy, wealth isn't measured by possessions, but by who you are becoming. Integrity, humility, patience, and faithfulness, these are far more valuable than any estate or stock portfolio. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 1 reminds us, "A good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold." Character transforms how you use your resources, how you treat others, and how you walk through life's trials. Without it, worldly riches can become chains, but with it, even modest resources yield eternal impact. Contentment and gratitude, they really do redefine what it means to be rich. You know, a content heart is rich no matter what the bank balance says. Paul writes in Philippians chapter 4, verses 11 to 13, about learning to be content in every circumstance, not by ignoring what we lack, but by trusting in God's provision. Gratitude, turns ordinary blessings into wealth, a roof over your head, food on your table, health, and the love of family and friends. When you recognize these daily gifts as treasures, you stop measuring success by comparison and start valuing the abundance you already have. True wealth, well, it really does withstand the tests of life. Material wealth is fragile. It can vanish in a stock crash, a theft, or a sudden expense. But divine wealth endures storms, loss, and disappointment, peace, joy, purpose, love, and faith. These treasures cannot be stolen, damaged, or diminished. This is why Scripture calls them treasures in heaven. Earthly riches fade, heavenly riches last. And the best part? They grow as you share, serve, and surrender. Here are some practical steps to embrace God's definition of wealth. Evaluate your heart. Where is your treasure today? Money, approval, possessions, or God? Invest relationally. Spend time, love, and care on people who matter, not just what looks impressive. The world tells us to chase bigger, faster, shinier things. God tells us to grow deeper, kinder, wiser, and closer to Him. True wealth is not about what you own. It is about who you are, how you love, and how you trust God. The divine economy operates differently. The more you surrender, the more you receive. The more you give, the richer your life becomes. The more your heart rests in God, the wealthier your soul. Ask yourself today, am I pursuing earthly treasure or eternal richness? Because real wealth isn't counted in dollars, it's counted in peace, purpose, and God's presence.